I'll be talking about lakes and I speak. When I speak without fear, sometimes it might hurt some people, but my intention is not to make anyone unhappy, but at the same time to convey the message. So, the agenda of water system or the when we talk about any natural ecosystem, two things happens. When natural ecosystems are in place, they are resilient to changes in climate. Climate change is happening whether we agree or disagree. Changes are happening. What happened in Uttarakhand or Himachal Pradesh or even in Karnataka and Kerala is a reminder that if you don't wake up today, your children will pay a heavy price. And when we maintain the ecosystem, we also have the security of water. When the water security is there, there is a food security, and of course, health will be there. And there is a resource availability to everyone, not just handful of few people, and there will be happiness among everyone. But for this to happen, one has to manage the ecosystem. That is where my problem starts. Where are the people who manage the ecosystem? They have to be environmentally literate. When they are environmentally literate, they will understand what is a lake, what is a river, or what are forests. Otherwise, lake is converted into cement bowl. That's what is happening in some parts of the India, and we need to put an end to that, the business of concretizing the natural entities. In fact, sometimes when people think about concretizing the Raja Kalve in the name of remodeling, it's a sin. I said, why don't we think about even concretizing our arteries and veins in our body so that many people who love concrete can also make money. Well, let us learn from nature. This is how I teach. This is one or two slides. After that, I will talk about lakes. When I look at the ecosystem, you see that because of the biotic and abiotic component interacting with each other, there is a material and energy transfer happens. When you see that when energy and material transfer happen, there is no waste in the ecosystem. And whatever is left in the ecosystem, bacteria and fungi converts that into elemental form. That's why there is no waste in the nature. Where do you see waste? You see waste where waste people are there. Who are these waste people? People who have affinity to the plastic and synthetic material which are not amenable by the nature, the waste fellows. That's where, the solid waste management in Bangalore is still a problem in the knowledge city. Though we have talked about how to manage it and all, finally they want to dump the solid waste in our lakes and create a mess there. Let me talk about Bangalore, how it has become Bengaluru, and then how we lost our Bangalore. When Kempegowda was there, during that regime, we had 1,452 water bodies, 80% green cover. Because of that, temperature in the city was 14 to 16 degrees Celsius in May month, summer month. And for some period, in December, the temperature was 0 degrees Celsius. We were growing apples not very close by, Palace Orchard. If you look at the historical records, it will talk about the growing apples. But today, what are we growing? The number of water bodies has come down to 193. The greenery has come down to less than 4%. And what are we? We are not growing apples, but we are growing the waste and waste people in the region. The city, which was a garden city, has become a garbage city and now heading towards the dead city. So, now let's look at how earlier rulers created the water body. See, when they planned for a town or human habitations, they thought about the water security and security for people. That's where, if you look at, there was a lake next to the fort. If you go to city market area, town hall and all those region was a lake earlier. They ensured the water security and also the fort was for providing the security for the people. And today what we have done, we still remember Kempegowda, but we put him near the airport so that he can inhale the dust and this one. And today the number of water bodies in the region is about 193. In fact, my group at Iisc, we have studied all lakes. In fact, we know each and every lake, what is the problem and what is the solution required. First and foremost thing we need to understand is Bangalore topography. If you look at Bangalore is about 740 square kilometer. In the 740 square kilometer of today, in 1800 we had 1452 water bodies. Bangalore topography, if you look at broadly, it's a 3 watersheds. We have KC Valley, Rushbhavati and Hebbal, Nagavara Valley. The river or stream was passing. Our elders just put the bund. They just made the water to stagnate so that the irrigation and drinking water requirement could be met in the region. So now, what have we done? If you look at the latest remote sensing data, you see that lakes are not interconnected. First and foremost thing which I have been telling the government of Karnataka and the various other governments across the country, re-establish the interlink among the lakes. But people want to talk about interlinking of rivers without even understanding what is the implication of that. So that is what we have to do. If you want to address the problem of flooding, let us first make sure our water flows freely in the system without any blockages. Whoever is sitting in this lake, Raja Kaluways or the stormwater drain, we should evict them without any kind of consideration. Because of them, hundreds of people get affected. Don't think that the human rights issue comes when one person is affected. Because of that one person or one family, hundreds of other families are affected. Let's understand what is the use of wetlands or the lakes in the city. This is what when I talk to the urbanized people say. In fact, in various committees when I said, people come and tell me, lakes have no relevance in Bangalore. We don't require lakes. But these fellows, I don't know what kind of knowledge they have. I always tell them, lakes does the job of groundwater recharge. Whether you like it or not, 45% of Bangalore depends on the groundwater. Second thing is lake also gives the fish and fodder. If you don't eat fish and fodder, at least I see you going around in the lake in the evening or early morning for jogging. That means recreation facility is there. Then we also assign the economic value. In fact, I did that natural capital accounting and valuation of ecosystems in Karnataka recently for the United Nations. For the first time in the globe, the Karnataka has the distinction of having the natural capital accounting. Now let us look at, if the lake is there, what are the benefits? See, when lakes were there, people were getting the water in the wells at 80 to 100 feet. When the lakes were removed in 4 or 5 years, it went down to 500 to 600 feet. Today, in the same location, after 22 or 23 years, people have gone down 1,900 feet. They have not got water. Now that's why we are going to Chandra, searching for water. Okay? Then, and the rejuvenated lake, that's where we say that lake has to be rejuvenated. When the lakes are rejuvenated, surrounding groundwater gets improved, that groundwater table. That's what we saw in Saraki. About from 800 feet to 350 feet kind of a situation. And we also in some other place we put the sensors to understand how much water get infiltrated if the catchment has the vegetation cover or if it is urbanized. We found that catchment, when it has the native vegetation cover, it allows the percolation of rain to an extent of 40 to 60%, which will sustain the water requirement during the post-monsoon period. That's where the lakes are perennial. But in Bangalore, because we have concretized, there is no percolation happening. But what we are doing, thanks to BWSSB, we are keeping the sewage in the lake so that you see a water all the time. When lake is not polluted, what is the worth? Let us see. It gives the fish, fodder, etc. to an extent of about 10,500 rupees per hectare per day. I challenge anybody on the earth, let them prove any other, this one is better than this on economic terms, because I work in the area of economic, natural capital accounting, etc. And when we pollute the lake, it comes down to 20 rupees per day per hectare. Who are the people get affected? People who depend on the lake, or the fishermen, washerwomen, farmers, etc. And that section of the society gets affected. Who are the people responsible for the mismanagement of the lake? People like us. See, we are the one responsible for that. So now we also looked at what is the worth of the ecosystem. This gives the per hectare value. I will not get into the numbers of that. As far as the today's meeting is concerned, there is an article, I have put it online, on the natural capital accounting of the lakes in Karnataka. There are 36,000 lakes in Karnataka. We have looked at all the lakes, and also the coastal wetlands also we have looked at. Now, what's happening to lakes in Bangalore? The red ones are the one we are losing them. Over the last 5 decades, we have lost them. And why we have lost? Of course, when we lose the lake or when the quality goes down, the people think about rejuvenation. It is when a person becomes sick. Till then, they don't think that they have to go for medical checkup or anything. Only when they become chronic, they think about, let us have something, bypass surgery, all kinds of things. We also looked at what is the status of rejuvenated lake. When we saw the rejuvenated lake, when I did the study of those 68 lakes, 13% had good water quality and poor water quality 34%, very poor quality 53%. Okay? And what is the reason for the failure of the rejuvenation? There is a lack of understanding of functional aspects of a lake. The organization dominated by civil engineers only think about concretization. What about ecological thing, which is missing? And the agenda of decontaminating the lake doesn't happen. Desilting has to happen to decontaminate the lake. Partial desilting happens. That means part of the contaminant still remains in the lake. Then we do not arrest the contaminants. Untreated sewage, even after rejuvenation, keeps coming there. Sometimes we go and take up the issue with the concerned agencies, ask them why this gap. They say, sir, because the other organization is doing, we have no control. The root cause of our problem, of the lack of appropriate civic communities, is the fragmented governance. Too many parastate agencies, lack of coordination and lack of sincerity is the root cause. Okay? And emphasis of rejuvenation is only on civil works than on ecological restoration. Any lake, when you look at the shoreline, there were earlier shrubs were there, butterflies, birds, it's a roosting site. But today in the concretization, what do you see? You don't see them. So then you have to have photographs and posters, and when we have the Kere Habba, we will put photographs. Now let's understand what are the problems. The first and foremost problem, why are we densing the region? Unplanned urbanization. We have lost the flat sinks that are wetlands and trees. This is I have been showing in various forums. I work in Western Ghats as well as in Bangalore. So when you look at 1973, 68% of green cover in the city. Red is the building, blue is water body, yellow is open space. In 92, with industries coming, Pune and Koramangala, we see that changes happening there. Then in 2000, with IT/BT sectors in the outskirts, you see that changes happening in the outskirts, okay, peri-urban area. 2006, further intensification, 2009, and today the situation is like this. The city is not livable. There are some people, in the age group of 50 to 70 using oxygen cylinder. In fact, I happened to meet somebody, one slightly senior person from Malleshwaram. He says in the evening he has to have oxygen cylinder. This is not during COVID period, before COVID period only. And today, 85% of the city is choked with concrete. Why everything has to be in Bangalore? See, any city to be livable, the basic amenities and infrastructures are required. In fact, even the clean air and water is our requirement. That's what we have to ask the decision maker. See, we should have the pollution-free environment. Everything is free in Karnataka. Let us also make sure we have pollution-free environment also. So, and what changes happened over the last 5 decades? There has been 1,055% increase in concrete area, and we have lost 88% of vegetation cover and 79% of the water bodies. I've been telling enough is enough. Where are the people to listen to me? And if this trend continues, 98% of the Bangalore would be choked with the concrete. Only places like Iisc, GKVK had the green cover. Even our campus is slightly becoming the concretized now. That means we will not have even that 2.5%. And how many trees are there in the city? When we did using the remote sensing data coupled with our field monitoring, we found there is a 1.5 million trees are there for a 9.5 million population. That means for every 7% or 8% there is one tree. You might ask, why do we require tree? We require money, isn't it? So, but you also require tree because everyone breathes. Is there anyone in my audience not breathing? Everyone breathes. So that means when we breathe, we give out a carbon dioxide to an extent of 540 to 980 grams per person per day. 1 kg of carbon dioxide when you are young, 540 when you are in my age group. And 1 hectare of tree takes away the carbon to an extent of about 6 to 9 tons per year. That means for every person there should have been 7 to 8 trees. Then only you will have Amlajanaka. But today, the city is with the carbon dioxide. You have a lot of stress. When you go home, you want to just sleep than doing anything. But if you come to the campus like mine, even at 1 o'clock, you will see my students working. And we all work till 9:30, 10 o'clock. Even the people contact me at 9 o'clock in the night. So that is the beauty of the nature that makes you more energetic. And this is nothing new. I have been not talking about that. If you look at Bible, there's a mention of nature conservation at least 320 times. Quran also talks about water, clean water. It warns us of the war if we contaminate the water. That's why when you visit Dargah, you have to clean your feet and fingers with the clean water. That's why in Dargah there is a well always. Okay, good Dargahs have. Even if you look at our literature, Matsya Purana talks about the linkage between the water body and a child and a tree. If you have well at home, you are wealthy. 10 wells are equal to 1 lake. 10 lakes are equal to 1 sarovar. 10 sarovar is equal to 1 tree and 10 trees are equal to 1 child. That means if you have 10 trees, is equivalent to taking care of your own the child. So now when you cut the tree, I would put it other way. You are also murdering the 10 children. So this is what we need to understand. Okay? Now other part is the city, the carbon levels are going up. If you look at the city where public transport is weak, there is a higher amount of carbon. For example, Hyderabad to an extent of 54% and 45% from Bangalore. And not only that, we don't treat the sewage or the solid waste. Dumping solid waste is our agenda. In the process, organic fraction gives us a methane and the carbon dioxide. That's where the emission from the waste, untreated waste, is about 8 to 10% in the city. And other thing is the glass facade building. These are called Lakeview apartment, Lakeview thing. You go to Devara Bisnalli, you will see such buildings. Look at the carbon footprint of this. The people who are in this building, they consume electricity at least 10 times higher than other building dwellers. In a normal building, if you require electricity of 700 to 1200 units per person per year, in this glass facade building, it becomes 14,000 to 17,000 per person per year. There is a limit for mismanagement. See, you might say glass facade looks fine and wonderful. That architecture is meant for the European climate or the cold climate where you have to conserve the heat, not for a tropical climate like Bangalore or the Chennai or Hyderabad or Mumbai. Let's see the implication of that. When the city was relatively green, the temperature was 21 degrees. It became 24 degrees in 2000 or 28 degrees in the 2010. Today is about 34 to 37 degrees Celsius. And also we tried from the center of the city, moved in a direction. You see wherever the water bodies are there, wherever the greeneries are there, temperature is 2 degrees lower. That is a job done by the these natural entities. The microclimate moderation is another service provided by these wetlands and the trees, etc. Now, let us look at the floods. Whenever the tragedy happens, it makes one section of the society to loot the resources. That happens in the flooding. Every time when flooding happens, when pictures comes like this, when a kind of journalists report about it, when it becomes emotional, the government also becomes more active. They release the money. They sanction 1,000 crores, 1,300 crores. You look at every 5 years, I see 1,000 crore for the rejuvenation of the Raja Kaluve or remodeling of the Raja Kaluve. What are we doing? Lakes are interconnected. We have lost the connectivity. Naturally, that region become vulnerable to flood. Then, we are, in the name of remodeling, we are concretizing the drain. I have been talking about this from the last 1.5 decade. Remodeling of the drain, the two things are happening. The drain which was supposed to be 80 meter between Balandur and Agaram, in the name of remodeling, 18 meter it has become. See, that's what we did, the cadastral map versus the current this one. And because of that, there was a flooding in the Koramangala region. When flooding happened, the naturally people get agitated. When people were agitated, what did my friends, the bureaucrats did? Babus did? They put one more drain parallel to this drain. Sir, there is a limit for mismanagement and wasting the public money. This is what is happening. And the regions which are supposed to be conserved are concretized. Now, between the two lakes, the region is a wetland. It has to be conserved. And as per the norm, it has to be conserved. But how to make more money? And that's good example is KTCDA now. You can have roads about the lake, you can have anything on the lake, but not the people. Okay, now let us look at how we are also doing. See, we dump solid waste, we encroach the lake. If I try to say that I have a land of 40 by 60, and if 1 feet extra this side, action is taken. But Lakeview apartments come, they let the sewage into the lake. When the lake is fed with the untreated sewage, you will see profuse growth of macrophyte. These are invasive weeds. And when the profuse growth of macrophyte happens, it doesn't allow the water, the sunlight to penetrate. In the absence of sunlight, you will not see the ecosystem functioning. That's what if you want to see, since there is no sunlight, the producer is not there in the lake, algae. Since algae is not there, zooplankton is not there, or a fish is not there. That's where the worth of the lake ecosystem comes down from 10,500 rupees per hectare per day to come 20 rupees per hectare per day. You might say, sir, Bangalore is a garden city, green city. Why are you unhappy when you see green on the lake? This is a tragedy. And what do? We load the lake with the effluent, industrial effluents and the sewage. And the consequence is this frothing of the lake under fire. I have visited many countries. I worked in many countries. No one has shown the coexistence of fire and water except Bangaloreans. Okay? And what is the solution for the froth which is coming to the road? Because this media made a big noise, international and national media. So our friends came up with a barricade. They said that once we have barricade, froth will not come to the road. I wrote an article saying that this is an ad hoc decision. You should solve the problem at the source. And people who matters, let me not name them, they called and said, you are a critic. You always speak like this. So nothing new in that. I said, sir, your solution is 4 days. My solution is a sustainable solution. I think about the lifetime of a person or the generation to come. And as I predicted in that article, the froth crossed over in the barricade in 4 or 5 days. In the process, people told me, you didn't understand the essence of this project. I said, what is the essence? We have spent 2 crores. 2 crores, 40% of that you can imagine. Okay. And now let us look at in the free world how we are also distributing the pollutant. We did a study in the lake and surrounding area. People cultivate the vegetables in the vicinity of the lake. We collected those samples and a fish sample from the lake. We analyzed them. We found all of them having heavy metal. Dr. Meenakshi Bharat is in the audience. She will tell what will happen if too much of heavy metal in our food. Then kidney failure, cancer will happen. Kidney failure, which was 1 in 1 lakh about 12 years back, today it's 1 in 5,000. That's where we are very happy in inaugurating dialysis unit in each ward, than solving the health of the city problem. This is a problem, ridiculous. Now, of course, when you rejuvenate the lake, what are the benefits, let us see. See, if local people take part, they are the active stakeholders of the system. When they take part, when they rejuvenate the lake, the silt, which does not have contaminant, can be used in the agriculture field or for growing the vegetable. This is what happened in one of the lake. After when I said that there are no contaminants, they agreed to take the lake, the silt from the lake. And after 4 months, when I visited, each farmer tells me they earn 1,50,000 rupees per acre per one season. Every year 3 crops come, like radish, the pudina, spinach, etc. They were getting 1.5 lakh. 400 acres land we gave this silt. You can imagine 400 into 1.5 into 3 times. What is the thing? That is the worth of the system. Okay. Now, what can be done in a city like us? We should feel for the lake. Dhamma Kere. Not just the banner, we should really feel for it. We should not allow anybody to mismanage the lake. Altering the integrity of the lake, physical integrity, is a sin. Why did we allow the concretization? Even a good example is Sankey Lake. I have been telling, you cannot go on increasing this one in the name. People want for jogging path, etc. Yesterday jogging path is 5 feet. Today it became 20 feet. Does our people grown horizontally by that much to jog? This is a limit. And second thing is, we had put the fountains. It was doing a wonderful job of aeration in the lake. In the name of rejuvenation, the fountain was removed. I wrote couple of mails to the CA of the concerned lake division in BBMP. Every time I was told it will be done in a few months. They wanted to junk this fountain so that they can have a new fountain and associated money with that. See, this is where, when every bureaucrat think of making money, we see the problem in the system. So, the same people, when they are retired, they come to my lab. They show so much concern for the lake and ecosystem. Had they had, when they had the power, it would have been wonderful. So then, why they come to my lab? Because some tragedy would have happened at home, which concurs with the statement I do. So they realize, okay, this man might give the solution for that papa. So I am not a saint, but this is the thing. Okay. Now, what can be done in a city like Bangalore? One is, let us do the wastewater treatment. Let us not let the sewage into the lake. Look at the Sankey Lake. Sewage comes there. How do you know sewage comes? We have underground thing, invisible pipe. How do you know? But biological organism in the lake tells me when the species turnover happens from the one kind of the algae to other kind, nutrient rich environment, the microcystis and blue-green algae, such thing turnover happens. We know that nutrients are coming in the lake. So I don't have to do anything. So how we can rejuvenate the lake? We have to arrest the untreated sewage coming to the lake. We can do that. Then rainwater harvesting should happen in the city. We should have mini forest in each ward. You might say, what is the proof for your statement? I'll substantiate now. And second thing is, we should invest on environmental education. We should make more and more people know about environmental issues, consequences of mismanagement. Now, this wastewater treatment, Jakkur Lake, if you look at 2005, surrounding area there are 25 wells were there. When we were monitoring at that time, we reported there are nitrate. Nitrate is a carcinogen which introduces cancer. We pushed the government to rejuvenate the lake. Fortunately, at that time, people used to listen to us. When they took up the rejuvenation, they constituted a committee. I was a member of the committee and Mr. Sidaya was a commissioner of the thing. Quite receptive person. And at the time, he told me that he can have only secondary treatment plant So we cannot have tertiary treatment. As you all know, the treatment of wastewater has 3 levels: primary, secondary, tertiary. Primary removes the large particles, secondary treatment will remove the chemical ion, tertiary treatment will remove the nutrient. Since we are letting sewage, we all eat protein, N gets in, we wash the cloth with detergent, P gets in, phosphorus get in. So that means if N and P is not removed, still that lake rejuvenation won't happen. Then what did I do? I just integrated constructed wetland and algal pond. For the last 10 years, my students monitored that. We prepared a report sometime about 2 years back, and we put it on the net. This report is available online. It is doing the job. Constructed wetland and algal pond is providing the tertiary level treatment service. About 85 to 90% of the contaminants are removed. Nutrients have been removed. And today when we monitor the Jakkur Lake and surrounding, there are 300 wells. None of the wells have nitrate. At least I have the satisfaction that I have taken the science to society and making sure 300 the well users having water without any contaminants. Well, now what could be done? I will take another 3 or 4 minutes. So I saw the time, it was 1 minute to 11 o'clock. You had told me half an hour. I started at 10:35. I have the right to go till 11:05. Okay. That is what we should assert. The day when we assert that lake is mine, you have no right to pollute, the conservation happens. And let us look at how the water harvesting could solve the problem of Bangalore. 700 to 850 millimeter rainfall in the city gets you the 15 TMC of water, where the city requires 18 TMC of water. When you do the harvesting of the rainwater, each house will have, rooftop harvesting will have 3 to 4 months additional water. When you rejuvenate the lake, retain the rainwater in the lake, 15 TMC you can store it. And you will meet 70% of the water requirement in the city. If you are using 18 TMC of water, you are also generating 18 TMC of wastewater, which means if I treat it similar to the Jakkur model, I have 16 TMC of treated water. 15 plus 16 TMC, I'll have 31 TMC of water in a region where 18 TMC is required. Instead of implementing this, what are we thinking? Make it that too. Milking cows, milking makers, we want to take advantage. We want to submerge 5,000 hectares of land, which is doing the hydrological service of storing 100 TMC of water and releasing the water to the downstream during the post-monsoon. We want to replace that ecosystem with the concrete dam, which can store 65 TMC of water. And what is the ecological service we are doing? At least 10 times higher than the cost of the money that is being spent for constructing the dam. Professor Rajiv Gowda is here. I want him to take this message to my friends who are ruling the city, the state. I want the things to, first let us look at all the solution, and then if it is inevitable, let's go for the ultimate one. For this to happen, I have 5R formula. First R is a responsible citizen. I've been traveling across the country and globe. I'm trying to communicate. Responsible. When people know the environmental knowledge, have the environmental knowledge, they become sensible. When they become sensible, they are responsible. Responsible citizen will make sure lake is not contaminated, lake is rejuvenated, and I can retain the rainwater. And also they make sure that wastewater is treated so that no contaminant get into the system. Well, what did you do? Are you giving only lectures or others? You come to my campus. I have created a water body which stores 10 lakh liters of water. My students use this lake for doing biofuel study. Not only my student, even otter, I don't know from where it has come, it has landed in my home and it is happy. I don't go and feed fish every day. Otter is a voracious eater of fish. But when we did biodiversity study, we saw there is enough fish, algae, zooplankton in the system. Message here is, you just facilitate. Nature knows how to build the ecosystem and take care of everyone. What is the message here? I stay on the campus. I require about 1 lakh liter of water every year. My family requires. And I am putting back 10 times that. Give back 10 times. Then there won't be any poverty or the scarcity of resource. This is the message we require. What we consume, at least 10 times that we should give it back to the system. Then there won't be any scarcity. And when I meet people, the region where the drought was there, we created a water body, our desilting of the lake was done. There was no water crisis the last 2 years after that. And when I meet youth, the success is always because of the sensible and responsible youth. When they are there, we make sure they implement. That's what happened in Mudbidre. Lake was created. And nature-based solution of having the greenery of native species were done. Next year, when I visit the same place as the guest faculty, I see a greenery with abundant water. And on the lighter side, because there are some youngsters who will take this message, the person who created this, who owns this land, was a bachelor. But after creating this ecosystem, within 6 months, he gets a partner who take care of the family. Unlike people in Bangalore, get the partner through the Facebook, all these faceless fellows. The next month, they will be thinking of filing the paper. Okay? So then, you come to the campus, you will see this climber. I was fascinated by the architecture. I got into the campus, the seats, and out of 14, 7 I planted in 7 locations. Out of 7, only 1 has survived. Where it has survived? Next to the building where I have been working. Even the plants know who will take care. Okay? Then in front of this building, we created a mini forest. These are all when you are young, you will do. When you cross 35, 40, you become too selfish. You will think how to improve the treasury at home and treasury for their great-grandchildren. When we 49 native species, 500 saplings were planted in 2 hectares area. Today you come there, you get a feel of the rainforest. Not only you will see my friends, slender lories, varieties of biota there. And more importantly, temperature in the campus is 2 degrees lower than the city. And in this region, another 2 degrees lower. Microclimate moderation is also there. And other interesting thing, groundwater, which was 150 feet earlier when the region was dominated by Parthenium invasive weed. Today, you have to search for Parthenium in that region. And groundwater is 10 to 15 feet. Now, the solution for water in the city is not make a datu, create mini forest in each ward and bring awareness among the citizens and rejuvenate the lake, because 193 lakes, 198 ward. What a wonderful situation. If every group owns the lake, no one can mismanage the lake. Well, that's what we are doing. We are sensitizing the youth and also people who are working in industry and university. We offer a course on environmental management. I have been doing for the last 2 decades. 21st batch I have announced, which will begin next week. Okay? And we organize a symposium popularly known as Lake Symposium. It's a biennial event. The uniqueness of this event, when the international and national experts come, even my school and college students take part. When they take part, they acquire knowledge. And on the concluding day, they do the presentation. That becomes quite popular. When they do that, their confidence level goes up. That's why my students who took part in the event today are the faculty in the organization like IITs and IISER, etc. So this is the forum. Okay, this is how the children do carbon monitoring or the wetland monitoring. Every school which is next to the lake, we make them to monitor. And those of you who want more details can go to this website. And also in my website, all my publications are put. There are 350 articles I have written, which is available online. The copyright issues of my book, I have not put e-version there, okay? So if you need more details, you can get into this. Thank you very much for listening to me. And